will you be able to receive the sage advice and paramount morals of the story, the facts of the story. Thank you, and enjoy.
What is it?
Giant showroom.
That yes, it's quite possible that it was the Anunnaki with their not only genetic engineering and splicing their DNA with perhaps a hominoid as well.
Let's just go to some data points.
They're not only genetic engineering and splicing their DNA with
that is suspect in itself.
Forest for the trees. And if people are that confused about something that blatant today, how can they possibly understand what we've been talking about, the wars of gods and men, and how these gods, and all these other gods, Marduk and whatnot, their male scribes, under the direction of the male gods, are writing this version of history, which always seems to favor the patriarchy. Always begat children of
that is suspected itself, and how no one sees this. It's just mind-boggling. People don't see how one-sided this is. And speaking of that, I have a question about the Nephilim.
Sure.
And there's a quote in the Bible that says, and the sons of God saw that the daughters of men were beautiful, and they took to them what wives they chose, and they gave birth to children, right? Something like that, right? Do you know this quote?
They begat children of renown, or some have interpreted as giants, which...
Yes, who were the insane ones, who then became the corrupt species on this planet. Do you think that these are related to the Anunnaki, or related to the history?
Yes, I would say at some level. But where I would differ from Wes Penry, is that if his writings are any indication, and I can see why he would feel this, that the Anunnaki were the... and although they did divide the world up, into spheres of influence among themselves, they certainly were not the only ET races that had influence. And he would be the first to say that. But and I do believe there's something to the notion that a lot of these Anunnaki were revered as gods by different names throughout the ages in different cultures, different parts of the world. That much I agree with. But I don't... do I consider themselves to be as all-powerful as all that? Yes, I believe there's an element of that too, because the Nibiru may be a crap.
Man, them stopping by like that made me real nervous. My heart was pounding. Yeah, that brat. He's just as freakishly intimidating as ever. That's for sure. I didn't mean to. I meant to say, that's our Prince Vegeta for you. Nothing like my kid. He's great. Prince Vegeta. Hey, you listening to me? I'm serious. That's what I meant. I thought he was just some spoiled brat. Looks like I was wrong. Hey,
All this fear-mongering. The libertarian,
please don't tell anyone what I said.
Ruling sewer scum, humanity for 5.0, 9.0, who knows how many in the briefing papers Bob Lazar read in his time at S4. If memory serves, there was something in there about at least the Greys, the Zeta Reticulations, being one of the genetic engineering groups, had genetically altered or corrected the human race something on the order of 28 times by that point, okay? So 28 different times in the evolution of the human race, there was these corrections, these genetic alterations. And that's just one race, that's just the Zetas. But who are the Zetas really working for? I would argue that at least some of the Grey factions work for the reptilians. They work for the Draco, they work for the Orion Empire, essentially. Elements of the same thing. That is the reality that's been going on all along Sub Rosa, and then now it's come out into the open. But for those people who've been, quote-unquote, demonically tormented, or have had stage magic dreams taken over by reptilians, greys, or you name it, they live these Freddy Krueger nightmares, but in real time, in a way that no person but only a 3D understanding of space and time could understand. Because these people are literally trapped within their own bodies at night, paralysis, they can't wake themselves up, and they literally have, for lack of a better term, but a term that some Christians might understand, a demon inside of them. Call it a reptilian for people like us. And yes, demons do get into people, different stripes. We're not all talking about the same thing. Okay? That's a paradigm, thinking everything has to be the same. No. Elements of the same thing, but not all exactly the same.
So listen.
Putting in first 5 or 10, then
His power level is extremely low, and he is indeed your son. The hair confirms it.
What the hell? You called me over here for this? Wait, don't want to see him? I ain't got time for that. I've got a real fun job to get to. Father these.
because it's gonna be a surprise to a lot.
My son was just born.
All right, shalom to all the viewers out there. Who God says is responsible for creating evil? Since the Bible is clear on who created evil, it's not debatable on who created evil in the Bible. So that's what you're gonna get the understanding on today. And rises the evil, you would be doing what he said. You would be doing exactly what he said. So with that, I say shalom until next time, and peace and blessings. Shalom, this is Brother Yerushalayim asking the viewers to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share the videos so that the word can be spread throughout the 4 corners of the earth as prophesied. And with that, I say shalom and peace and blessings to the...
This is Kanassa.
So, that being said, you need to sit back and push your emotions to the side. We're going to deal with this topic on a scholastic level. We're going to go into the Bible and we're going to deal with it for what it says. So you need to push your emotions and take them off of the forefront, and then you got to just open up your mind so you can get the understanding on what you're about to receive. Amos chapter.
Just let me do my own thing. Once you get started, there's no bringing you back. We're coming with you.
And God is the one who made all the Gentiles rich. He put them above. the dungeons, in prison, basically. He killed their firstborn as well, too. He didn't discriminate between the high class and the low class, because God is not a respecter person when it comes to judgment. It doesn't matter how high lifted up you are or how low you are. If he's going to come through and he says he's going to kill all the firstborn, everybody has to die. And all the firstborn of cattle. Imagine that. What did the cattle do wrong? You have to ask yourself, why did he kill the firstborn of the cattle? He slaughtered all the humans. Okay, we can understand that. The Egyptians wouldn't let the children of Israel go. But why did the cattle have to die? Because God does not play any games. God is on it. When he goes on a slaughtering spree, he's killing everything. He doesn't play any games. Psalm 78, verse 49. He cast upon them the fierceness of his anger, wrath, and indignation, and trouble by sending evil angels among them. See, God is not the one that physically goes out with a sword and starts slicing people up. That's not the way it works. God is sitting on his throne and he's controlling both sides. He's controlling the left-hand side, which is headed by Satan or the Beelzebub, and he's controlling the right-hand side, which is headed by Yahushua, or what you call Jesus Christ.
We are looking for gamers who want to learn how to become video game testers, designers, or programmers. If any of these...
That's the kingdom of heaven. It's going to be right here on earth. This is right out the Bible, not from...
Come on, we better start looking around.
Keep reading. And a fire enfolding itself. Come on. And a brightness was about it. Come on. And out of the midst thereof, as the color of amber. Out of the midst of fire. Out of the fire. Now jump down to verse 14. Ezekiel chapter 1, verse 14. And the living creatures ran in return as the appearance of a flash of light. So these things were moving quick. They were moving quick all the way around. Jump down to verse, keep going, keep going. Now as I beheld the living creature, behold, one wheel upon the earth by the living creature with his four fingers. Come on. The appearance of the wheel, of the what? The wheel, sound of what? Wheel, come on. And their work was like unto the color of a beryl. Come on. And they four had one likeness. And their appearance and their work were a wheel in the middle of a wheel. A wheel in the middle of the wheel. That's what he was saying. A wheel in the middle of a wheel. Jump to verse 19. Verse 19. And when the living creatures went, the wheels went by them. And when the living creatures were lifted up from the earth, well, what? Lifted up from the earth. They lifted up from the earth, come on. The wheels were lifted up. The wheels were lifted up. So this is talking about what these people be calling UFOs and stuff like that. He's going to be just like me. He's going to be written from the time of Moses, that a chariot or a whirlwind in the Bible. Like that. Unidentified flying objects. That's what the clouds represent in the Bible. Yes, those things are real, but they're not unidentified. They're identified. The government knows exactly what those things are. Read.
Why don't we? Hello and welcome to On the Record. Flying saucers, extraterrestrials, monsters in outer space. The government has been telling us for years that they're not real. They're weather balloons, swamp gas, or reflections in the sun, or the ravings of lunatics. But serious UFO researchers say a breakthrough may be very close. Some of the government scientists who work on the top-secret Project Blue Book are ready to talk. What's more, a series of revealing government documents has trickled out of the federal files. Documents that paint a much different picture of the UFO phenomenon. One of the most dedicated UFO researchers lives right here in Las Vegas. His name is John Lear, and he is my guest today. Mr. Lear, thanks for being here. Thank you. To begin with, you're a pilot, an airline pilot, captain. You have held 17 different world speed records at one time or another. You're a member of the famous Lear family that all Nevadans are pretty much familiar with, a former state Senate candidate. You don't sound like the kind of guy who would get hooked up in something that a lot of people would say is bunch of nonsense.
Well, it's just by coincidence that I got really interested this past 2 years ago. My father saw a UFO and my brother did. They were very interested, but there was really no...
Guys, someone just got $200,000 for their car accident settlement by calling Top Dog. I'm going to share my car accident story in under 30 seconds and how I got my life-saving settlement. I got rear-ended and started having some back pain for 50 years now. So I ended up calling my insurance company. They gave me an offer, but it really wasn't that good. I started doing some research and learned that some insurance companies try to pay you out as little as possible. Because every dollar that they don't pay you actually goes straight to their pocket. But attorneys are trying to get you up to this settlement. Make the more than they told me, the more they get paid. So that got me thinking, why would I ever accept the offer from the insurance company when you get paid right now? And then, like a sign of the universe, a few days later, I was scrolling Facebook and TikTok and saw this hilarious ad from Top Dog Law. I laughed at first, but then noticed they've been on ACC and have over 450,000 followers on Instagram, thousands of 5-star reviews, and have recovered millions of dollars for their clients. So at that point, I was like, why not? I hit their website, filled out the form, and gave them a call. The process was honestly incredible. They asked me a few easy questions. When the accident happened, who was at fault, if I had an injury, and that was basically it. What I learned is that they only get paid if they win, because they get a percentage of the case. So the more they make you, the better it is for them. So there really is nothing to lose by calling. So fast forward to today, and the settlement stuff I got is just incredible. I'm taking vacations, going out to eat, and even thinking about putting a down payment on the house. Seriously, if you've been in an accident, go to their website, fill out the form, and give them a call. Trust me, you will not regret it.
So small time. I'm riding with my pockets wide and playing across the hall. Like the Venus home. Yeah, they were very interested, but there was really no as far as I'm concerned, for him is but good to it, back to the society.
Your father and brother saw this in good detail.
My brother saw one inside of the from to Los Angeles at night. He was interviewed in front of him. He turned and he turned in front of him, and then just and the car the night leave over these ideas when he had to saw.
So you got interested because of the other members of your family. How did you start out?
I had it in the book, but I still never got to put my fingers. And like I said, 2 years ago, one of mine came through town. We were playing games together. We were gone to the Air Force. He came over and we started talking about where he had been for the last 15 years. And he mentioned that he had been stationed at Bentwaters. And I said, oh, Bentwaters, that's where the flying sausage supposedly was in 1980. He said, no, John, that's supposedly it was. He said, I don't care if you believe me or not. He landed. I didn't see it because he was in the quarters. I know people who did, and I'll give you the names. If you ever see them, tell them you know me, and they'll tell you the whole story. Since then, I ran into one of the security police who was within 10 feet of the saucer and actually saw the 3 aliens get out and go up to General Gordon Williams, who was the wing commander at that time.
Now, there was quite a bit of documentation regarding this Bentwater incident. Why don't you go into that a little bit?
There's the Colonel Halt memo that came out under the Freedom of Information Act, and it told about the mysterious lights and beaming down and everything that happened in the forest except the actual alien landing. That wasn't in the memo. And there was also the tape, Colonel Halt tape forest race, that he made over a period of 8 hours. And there's a 20-minute segment that we've been able to get a hold of that you can hear him running through the forest and being worried, saying the things after.
Now, why do you suppose that hasn't come out? I mean, this particular incident, why hasn't it come out? If so many people, and you've told me about this before, have seen it or seen these aliens, why haven't some of them come forward?
A lot of them have come forward, but they're just not getting any press. It's something that people just don't want to deal with, the press doesn't want to deal with, and people aren't going to listen to something unless Dan Rather or any of your big press people are going to tell them about it. And they're just too spooked. The Air Force has made an art form of ridiculing people who have talked about this thing. They've done an excellent job at covering it up for the last 4 years.
An IQ aged 5 to 115 is considered.
People who have talked about this thing, they've done an excellent job at covering it up for the last 4 years. George, basically what we're dealing with here is, I'll give you the bottom line.
Okay, I want to hear your thesis.
I'm not trying to sell a book, I'm not trying to promote a lecture. This is based on what I've come across intense research in the last year. And I have found out that the government craft utilizes both in a number of other instances. It's not new. It's not a new method of dealing with potential whistleblowers. As a corporate financial firm, legitimate alien abduction for reasons which I will explain are kidnapped, trained, and utilized as black operatives by elements of the military intelligence community. And this information has come with a price. Every people I know, some literally killed, some who get harassed and persecuted, not just from human intelligence, but from the reptilians and the aliens themselves. Any half-race who are focused monitoring and harassed by black elements in the military intelligence community. However, when a researcher or an abductee starts getting harassed directly by the reptilians, for example, we know that that person crossed over the threshold of religion, and I will go into detail to get stuff out in my talk. Now, before I delve into this, there's some issues that I need to raise. One of which is credibility. For too long, alleged people have obtained their information about various offensive subjects from patently non-credible sources. I'd like to share from history examples where the academics and the scientific community have established stories that all collaborated and got done down to help Pearl Harbor experiences, yes, it still be maintained today. Because with full truth that any of those subjects need to be revealed and undermine other histories that they have been connected to. One of the problems I've always had is people who are always trying to fix up poetic issues that are constant, members or former members of the aerospace community. To show up these conferences, jumping on this stuff like Tarzan, and here I am, big cat, nothing with it, and I'm talking about. Time after time, an example such as MIA or common data, like at different parts above and around after 13 years, veterans with South Asian conflict that were inflicted with Agent Orange with Soldiers of God, and most recently, Gulf War syndrome, which has come about research and vaccines. There's an excellent book about the subject called Vaccine it's by someone who's not murder. And what all these subjects have in common is when people that have afflicted with one sort of ailment or another and come forward to the aid of the rest of the medical science. But it always happens without exception that some established skills, certain science, some academics.
What's going on?
This is out of time. Claim as sufferer of ignorance, or the sufferer of the ignorance.
What's going on?
That has that stuff. There's a psychiatric galaxy.
Stop ordering. Stop making out. Stop doing all that, y'all.
But downplay is marginalized. Conscious most often not. These subjects a psychological disorder, a psychological aberration on the part of veterans suffering from Gulf War syndrome, veterans suffering from Agent Orange, things such as deliberate interference with military that some individuals suffered as been utilized. Now it's interesting, we've often talked before, but it's astonishing claims about his work at S4. And it turned out that his medical education records found debunking all extra glass that around working that out. But that never got done back because it started to use biopsy from moving on. And a number of other things. Not in nothing the corporate financial agenda was to drive will spend like and I found out that the government has increased the limits between actual fine charges.
What is that?
They have between 30 and 60 billion dollars in drugs and exposure. We even have the name of the person gathering show these bodies in the next state that people who are authorized. They recognize I can't imagine I can't say. For instance, the Independent Now documentary on the Denver for the CBS called Experience Television. Since 1975 to 1980, when he made the documentary, there was at least 9,000 mutilations. Now, the government said that the mutilations were normal, and it but they weren't. The mutilations, they put a picture of these somewhere. Maybe we can see that as we're talking. Well, that's the next picture. This mutilation, they basically did the investigation on it, and they cut out certain parts with a public aid with a laser hard sensor that used in the air. As a matter of fact, they were able to determine that they cut between the cells. And they cut the cells up. Because we don't have this
well, if we don't know that we have this kind of technology, you and I don't know that we don't, that doesn't prove necessarily that it's ET.
No, except that there's usually a visual sighting of a flying saucer or a light, a strange light that is one of them.
Okay, you mentioned the saucers and the body. Now, what kind of proof do you have that is true? How do you know that?
Well, let me take a look. Let me read from the first what the Air Force says about the body. First of all, I'm going to read from the Introductory to Space Science, Volume 2, Department of Physics, United States Air Force. This is Chapter 13, Unidentified Flying Objects. Now, this is what the Air Force has the students of the Air Force Academy read. And it says, the most commonly described alien is about 3.5 feet tall, has a round head, arms reaching through below his knees, and is wearing a silvery spacesuit or coveralls. Other aliens appear to be essentially the same as Earthmen, while still others have particularly wide wrap-around eyes and mouths that very thin lips. And there was a rare group reported to be about 4 feet tall, weighted around 35 pounds, and covered with thick hair for clothing. Members of this last group are described as being front. Now, I'm not making this up. It's example. You can put that in Air Force physics book when you do stuff. And at the end of the chapter, they go on to say, this leads us to believe in the unpleasant possibility of alien agencies to our planet, or at least with alien-controlled UFOs. Now, the picture that we have of the big head that the Air Force describes, this picture was drawn by an Army surgeon. These are one of the bodies that was recovered in the famous Roswell incident in 1947.
Tell us about that.
It was the first flying saucer that crashed and was recovered by the Army. It was covered up. There has been several books about it. They recovered 4 beings. And one of the surgeons that was responsible for the autopsy drew that picture and came up with some of these interesting things in the autopsy. I'll just read a couple. 3.5 point round eyes, without pupils, their earlobes, noses vague, neck sides and chin,
You really want to get a sticker, I haven't got any stickers. So right now, with this kind of high ratio, let's go to grab it and check. Because the ratio is 1 up to 72 is quite high compared with our other series, and also grab it and check. You want to enter the case, and also you will have a much higher ratio to get the sticker. So this one is so long to get it. And also for the surroundings, yeah, if you have a specific target in one period, you need to grab the set as well.
Next slide, please.
Hey, relax.
Arms are described long and thin, reaching down to the knee section. You see that there's a webbed portion in the hands. No sheath, no reproductive organs. Brain is vast to be unknown. Colorless liquid prevalent in the body, without red cells, no lymphocytes.
This is an autopsy report, and you said the government goes to great lengths, the Air Force in particular, to discredit this kind of stuff. Where did this come from?
That came in the private, textbooks in a private company. He was one of the senior researchers. He worked for the Air Force in the early 50s when a secret project reporting UFOs. Then as a civilian, he completed hydrogen tubes, and this is out of his collection.
Why does the government want to hide this? Why doesn't the Air Force just come forward? Why doesn't, why don't they level with it that this is all true?
Well, it's not really much they could say based on what I've been able to find out. George, are really, what could they say about it? They've been researching it for many, many years, based on his information. Let's say that the president decided to make an announcement. If he made it today, this is what I think that he would say. My fellow Americans, I come to you before you tonight with an announcement of great importance. Despite all our denials, flying saucers do in fact exist. Where they come from, we do not know. Who's in them, we do not know. Where they are from, we do not know. Nor do we know how they got here or what they want. We are unable to duplicate any of the metals found on several craft we have recovered, nor are we able to figure out how they have been shown. We have hidden these facts from you over the past 40 years in hopes to give you more answers. Unfortunately, we are no closer to answers today than we were 40 years ago. God bless you.
In other words, you find it highly unlikely that the president would ever make a statement.
No. It's too big. The problem is not only just the fact that there are 5 is as many as 10 different civilizations. Apparently,